The Queen watched the Drovar scout with cold calculation in her purple eyes. She gestured to Kate, pointing to her weapon, then to a large piece of floating debris nearby. Kate understood the strategy. With silent precision, she pushed off, preparing to create a distraction while the Queen remained hidden. The plan worked perfectly. The Drovar turned toward the noise, giving Kate the opportunity she needed. One clean shot. The creature died silently, its body drifting among the other debris. Leary moved forward, examining the dead Drovar. She touched its carapace with evident disgust. Her fingers traced the pattern of tech embedded in its exoskeleton. Kate watched, curious, as the Queen extracted a small device from the creature. She held it up to the light, studying it. Kate was surprised. The Queen seemed to understand Drovar technology, which was strange given the historical isolation of the Xyrillian Empire. They continued moving faster. Now Kate knew the dead scout would eventually be missed. More would come. The extraction point appeared ahead, a small maintenance airlock where her team could dock a shuttle. Kate signaled her team. The response came immediately. They were 3 minutes out. Leary studied the stars visible through a breach in the hull. She pointed to a distant cluster. Kate understood. The Xyrillian home systems far beyond human-controlled space. Few humans had ever seen them. The shuttle docked with a gentle bump. Kate team worked quickly, securing the airlock, creating a safe passage. The captain greeted them, his expression revealing surprise at the identity of their rescued survivor. Leary stood tall, despite her ordeal. She addressed the captain with dignity. The captain bowed slightly, a gesture of respect. The journey back to the human vessel was tense. The presence of a Xyrillian queen would complicate matters. Human command would need to be notified. Diplomatic protocols established. On the main ship, Leary was given quarters in the officers' section. Kate was assigned as liaison due to the trust already established. Kate found herself spending hours with the Queen, explaining human customs, answering questions about Earth. Leary was particularly interested in human warfare. How humans had managed to hold off the Drovar for so long despite their technological disadvantage. Kate explained about human adaptability, creativity, the willingness to try unconventional tactics. Leary shared stories of her world as well. The Xyrillian evolved from aquatic ancestors. Their cities were architectural marvels built both above and below vast oceans. Their society valued artistic expression alongside technological advancement. During one of their conversations, Kate noticed Leary examining the device she had taken from the dead Drovar scout. The Queen caught her looking and hesitated before speaking. Kate was stunned. The implications were enormous. The Drovar had been targeting the Queen specifically. Leary continued her explanation. Kate thought carefully about what the Queen was revealing. The Xyrillians had technology the Drovar wanted badly enough to risk open war. The Queen revealed more. Kate understood now why the Queen had been traveling secretly, why the Drovar had attacked with such force. The weapon the Queen described could change the balance of power in the galaxy. 3 days into the journey home, sensors detected Drovar ships approaching. The captain ordered battle stations. Leary requested to join the command center. Her knowledge of Drovar tactics could prove valuable. The captain agreed, though some of his officers looked uncomfortable with an alien presence on the bridge. The Queen studied the tactical display. Her long fingers traced patterns across the screen. She spoke quickly. Captain considered her suggestion. It was bold, unconventional, but it might work. The human ship dove toward a nearby nebula, a maneuver that appeared desperate, fleeing. But as the Drovar ships followed, the humans executed a complex turn, emerging behind their pursuers. The battle was brief, decisive. The human weapons, guided by Xyrillian tactical knowledge, proved devastating. The Drovar ships retreated, scattered and damaged. The crew celebrated their victory. But Kate noticed Leary standing quietly by the tactical display. The Queen was studying the battle data with intense focus. Later, in the privacy of the Queen quarters, Leary shared her thoughts. Kate was surprised by the honesty. The Queen was revealing strategic information that would normally be closely guarded. The Queen smiled, a gesture she had learned from observing humans. Kate realized the Queen was testing her, testing humans. The battle had been a demonstration of what an alliance might accomplish. Leary removed the device she had taken. From her dead guard on the ship, she placed it alongside the one from the Drovar scout. The two devices looked nothing alike, but Kate sensed they were connected somehow. The Queen explained. Kate listened carefully as Leary described Xerillian technology that could detect Drovar ships across vast distances. Technology that could track their movements, predict their attacks. The very technology the Drovar had been trying to steal. The more the Queen revealed, the more Kate understood the significance of her rescue. This wasn't just about saving one life, it was about the potential to save millions, both human and Xerillian. In the observation deck later that evening, Kate and Leary stood side by side watching the stars streak by. The ship was at maximum speed, rushing toward Earth carrying its precious diplomatic cargo. Leary spoke softly, almost to herself. Kate understood the burden of leadership, the weight of decisions that affected entire species. She had seen it in her own commanders. The Queen's words revealed a depth of responsibility that transcended species differences. The ship lights dimmed, signaling night cycle. Kate prepared to leave, but Leary gestured for her to stay. The Queen began to sing. Her voice, unlike anything Kate had ever heard, it resonated with harmonics that seemed impossible for a single throat to produce. The translator did not attempt to convert the song, but Kate felt its meaning nonetheless. A lament for the fallen, a hope for the future. When the song ended, Kate found herself moved beyond words. She simply bowed deeply, a gesture of profound respect. The Queen acknowledged with a tilt of her head, then she spoke. The silence of space greeted Kate Wilson as she drifted through the wreckage of what was once a proud Xerillian warship. The human rescue team had received the distress signal 3 days ago, but nobody expected to find survivors. The signal was weak, pulsing like a dying heartbeat across the void. Kate moved her flashlight across the twisted metal walls. The oxygen levels in her suit showed 4 more hours before she needed to return to the human vessel. Her orders were simple: search for any technology worth salvaging and report back. No one mentioned anything about rescue missions. There was little hope anyone survived the Drovar attack. The debris field stretched for miles. Pieces of the once mighty ship floated in the emptiness. Kate had been a soldier for 10 years, but the destruction still made her stomach turn. The Drovar were ruthless, leaving nothing but ruin in their path. A faint blue glow caught her attention from behind a collapsed doorway. She pushed aside floating debris and squeezed through the narrow opening. What she found made her breath catch. A tall, slender figure floated in suspended animation inside a damaged pod. Humanoid, but definitely not human. The creature had pale blue skin with faint patterns that seemed to shimmer in the dim light. Long silvery hair floated around a face that seemed almost peaceful. Despite the circumstances, Kate checked the pod systems. Most were offline, but life support still functioned at minimal levels. According to the flickering display, the occupant had been in stasis for nearly 2 weeks. The pod was designed to keep its passenger alive, but it was failing. Kate could see the power cells were almost drained. She activated her comm link. The captain responded, immediately, his voice crackling through the static. Kate described her discovery, trying to keep the excitement from her voice. Her captain took only moments to decide. Kate got to work. The rescue would be tricky. The pod was too large to move intact. Through the narrow corridors, Kate worked for hours rerouting power, connecting her suit systems to maintain life support, while she carefully extracted the alien woman from the failing pod. The alien skin felt cool to touch even through Kate gloves. The patterns she had noticed earlier seemed to pulse with a soft inner light. Kate wondered if it was some kind of natural bioluminescence, or perhaps rank markings. When the alien finally opened her eyes, Kate saw they were deep purple, with no visible pupils. The alien woman blinked slowly, then spoke in a halting voice. Her translator took a moment to process the words. Kate realized she was looking at someone important. The patterns on the alien skin, the elaborate markings on what remained of her clothing all suggested royalty or high status. The way she held herself even after waking from stasis spoke of authority and pride. The alien called herself Leary and confirmed Kate's suspicions. She was indeed Queen Lyriax of the Xyrillian Empire. The flagship had been attacked by the Drovar, a brutal species that had been at war with both humans and Xyrillians for decades. Kate felt a moment of awe, standing before alien royalty. She had heard stories about the Xyrillian Empire, their advanced technology, their mysterious ways. Their species had kept mostly to themselves, maintaining careful neutrality in the ongoing conflicts. As Kate helped Leary through the wreckage toward the extraction point, the Queen explained that she had been on a secret diplomatic mission. The attack was not random. The Drovar had known exactly where to find her. Kate listened carefully. Recognizing the political implications, the Xyrillian Empire had maintained an uneasy neutrality in the galactic conflicts. The fact that their queen had been on a diplomatic mission suggested possible alliance negotiations. They reached a large chamber that once served as the ship bridge. Bodies floated silently among the debris. Leary made a soft, trilling sound that Kate recognized as mourning. Kate offered quiet sympathy, understanding the weight of loss that hung in the cold air. The Queen stopped before one particular body, a male Xyrillian dressed in elaborate armor. She reached out, touching his face with gentle fingers. She spoke softly, words that Kate translator could not catch. Then she removed a small device from his armor, slipping it into the folds of her garment. The Queen straightened her posture and spoke with renewed determination. Kate nodded, not asking about the device the Queen had taken. She understood some things were matters of state security. The extraction point was still 15 minutes away through hazardous sections of the ship. As they navigated carefully, Kate noticed the Queen, studying her movements, her equipment, her weapons. Leary asked questions about human combat tactics, their weapons, their ships. Kate answered honestly, but cautiously, aware that regardless of their current circumstances, they represented different species with complex political relationships. A sudden tremor shook the ship structure. Warning alarms blared in Kate's suit. The wreckage was shifting, becoming unstable. Debris began breaking free. Floating dangerously through the corridors, Kate grabbed Leary, pulling her into a small maintenance shaft just as a massive section of wall tore loose, crushing the passage they had been traversing moments before. The new route would be longer, more dangerous. Kate checked her oxygen levels. 3 hours left. They could still make it. They continued moving carefully through the labyrinth of twisted metal. Leary demonstrated surprising strength and agility for someone who had been in stasis for 2 weeks. She moved with grace even in zero gravity, adapting quickly to the environment. Suddenly, Kate motion sensors detected movement ahead. Something large was moving through the ship. But that was impossible. Nothing could have survived the initial attack. She signaled Leary to remain quiet. They floated silently, watching as a grotesque figure emerged from the shadows, a Drovar scout. Its exoskeleton glinted dully in the emergency lights. 6 limbs moved with precision as it searched methodically through the wreckage, its mandibles clicking softly as it worked. Kate recognized the threat immediately. The Drovar never left survivors. If it discovered them, it would signal others. She had seen the aftermath of Drovar attacks on human colonies. Nothing remained. The following morning, alarms blared throughout the ship. Kate rushed to the bridge where chaos reigned. The captain was shouting orders as crew members scrambled to battle stations. 3 Drovar battleships had appeared seemingly from nowhere. Kate watched the tactical display with growing concern. Their ship was fast but not designed for heavy combat. The captain turned to Leary, who had arrived moments after Kate. The Queen studied the display, her expression grave. Kate realized what was happening. The Drovar had tracked them somehow. They knew the Queen was aboard. Leary moved to the communication station, her fingers dancing across the unfamiliar controls. She looked up at the captain. The captain hesitated only briefly before nodding. The Queen sent a transmission, a complex series of tones and clicks that the human system struggled to process. Then she stepped back, watching the display intently for long minutes. Nothing happened. The Drovar ships continued their approach. Weapon systems powering up, Then suddenly new signals appeared on the far edge of the sensor range. Kate gasped as 5 massive ships emerged from lightspeed. Xyrillian vessels. Their design unlike anything in the human fleet. Sleek, organic-looking with flowing lines that reminded Kate of ocean creatures. Leary stood straighter, her eyes fixed on the newcomers. The Xyrillian ships moved with incredible speed, forming a protective barrier between the human vessel and the approaching Drovar. The message was clear: touch this ship and face the consequences. The Drovar hesitated. Then as one they turned, retreating back into the darkness of space. The tension on the bridge broke as crew members cheered. The captain approached Leary, bowing formally. The Queen acknowledged, with dignity. Kate watched as communications were established between the human ship and the Xyrillian fleet. The captain invited the Xyrillian commander aboard. The docking bay was hastily prepared for the diplomatic meeting. Kate stood beside Leary. As the airlock cycled open, a tall Xyrillian male stepped through, his skin a deeper blue than the Queen's. His uniform adorned with intricate patterns that Kate now recognized as military rank. Leary stepped forward, speaking rapidly in her native tongue. The commander knelt immediately, head bowed. The Queen placed her hand on his head, a formal gesture of recognition. When they switched to translated speech, Kate could follow the conversation. The commander rose, explaining the situation to both Leary and the human captain. Kate listened with growing alarm. The attack on the Queen's ship had been just one part of a larger Drovar offensive. Several Xyrillian colonies had been attacked. The war was escalating. The captain invited them all to the conference room where maps and tactical data could be properly displayed. For hours they discussed the situation. The Drovar movement suggested a coordinated strategy targeting key points in both human and Xyrillian space. Kate watched the Queen carefully, noting how she studied the human reactions, the captain decisions. Her purple eyes missed nothing. During a brief recess, Kate found herself alone with Leary. The Queen seemed troubled. Kate was surprised by the directness of the question. The Queen nodded. Kate thought carefully before answering. Leary considered this, her fingers tracing patterns on the table surface, a habit Kate had noticed when the Queen was deep in thought. Kate understood then what the Queen was considering. An alliance not merely of convenience but of true partnership, something that had never existed between their species. Their conversation was interrupted as the meeting reconvened. The Xyrillian commander had received new intelligence. Drovar forces were massing near a human colony world. The captain immediately offered assistance. The commander looked to his Queen. The decision was hers. Leary stood, addressing both her commander and the human captain. It was decided 2 Xyrillian ships would accompany the human vessel to Earth, while the others moved to defend the threatened colony as the Xyrillian commander prepared to return to his ship. Leary made an unexpected announcement. The commander clearly wanted to object, but protocol prevented him from questioning his Queen. Directly he bowed, accepting her decision. After he had gone, the captain turned to Leary. Kate understood the implications. The Queen was placing herself in human hands, a gesture of trust that went far beyond diplomatic niceties. That night, Kate found Leary in the observation lounge. The Queen was studying Earth cultural files on a datapad. Kate sat beside her, curious. The Queen smiled, a gesture that looked more natural now as she grew accustomed to human expressions. Kate was surprised but pleased by the Queen's interest. Leary asked many questions about Earth-human social structures, family units, governance. Kate answered as best she could, explaining the diversity of human cultures. The Queen seemed particularly interested in how humans resolved conflicts between different groups. As they talked, Kate realized something. The Queen was not just gathering information, she was trying to understand humans at a fundamental level. After a comfortable silence, Leary spoke again. Kate was startled by the question. The Queen watched her with those unreadable purple eyes. Kate considered carefully. The Queen nodded slowly. Kate felt she was being tested somehow, that her answers were being weighed against some unknown standard. Leary changed the subject. Kate was surprised by the question, but answered honestly. The Queen tilted her head slightly, a gesture Kate had come to recognize as thoughtful consideration. Their conversation continued late into the night cycle. Kate found herself sharing stories of her childhood, her military service, her hopes for the future. Leary, in turn, spoke of Xyrillian traditions, the responsibilities of leadership, the weight of decisions that affected millions. By the time they parted, Kate felt something had changed between them, a connection that transcended their different species, a mutual respect, perhaps even the beginnings of friendship. The next morning brought news. The Drovar had attacked the human colony. The Xyrillian ships had arrived in time to prevent total destruction, but casualties were high. The captain called an emergency meeting. Leary attended, as did Kate in her role as liaison. The reports were grim. The Drovar were using new weapons technology that human defenses struggled to counter. Leary studied the battle data, her expression revealing nothing of her thoughts. Finally she spoke. The captain was surprised by the offer. The Queen continued. Kate watched the faces of the human officers. Some showed skepticism, others hope. The captain considered the proposal carefully. The implications were enormous. Sharing military technology was not done lightly, especially with a species that had maintained isolation for so long. The captain made his decision. Engineers from both species worked through the night cycle. The human weapon systems were modified according to Xyrillian specifications. Kate watched in fascination as the Queen herself directed some of the more complex adjustments. Her knowledge of weapons technology seemed extensive for a monarch. During a brief break, Kate found herself alone with Leary. The Queen seemed amused by Kate's surprise. Kate was beginning to understand the complexity of Xyrillian society. The Queen was not merely a figurehead, but a leader in multiple domains. As they returned to work, Kate noticed how easily Leary communicated with the human engineers. Despite the translation difficulties, despite the vast differences in their technology, the Queen had a gift for explaining complex concepts in terms humans could understand. By morning, the modifications were complete. The ship sensors now capable of detecting the Drovar stealth technology. The weapons recalibrated to penetrate their advanced shields. The captain ordered a course change. They would not proceed directly to Earth, but instead join the defense of another threatened colony. Kate found herself assigned to the tactical team. Her experience with both combat and working with the Queen made her valuable. The battle plan incorporated both human and Xyrillian strategies. As they approached the colony system, sensors detected Drovar, ships already in orbit. The colony had minimal defenses. They would arrive just in time, or perhaps too late. The battle began immediately. The modified sensors performed perfectly, revealing Drovar ships that would have otherwise remained hidden. The recalibrated weapons tore through shields that had previously been impenetrable. Leary remained on the bridge throughout the battle, her suggestions proving invaluable. The Xyrillian understanding of Drovar tactics combined with human adaptability created a formidable force. The colony was saved, though not without cost. The human ship sustained damage. 2 crew members lost their lives in the aftermath. Kate found Leary in the medical bay. The Queen was visiting the wounded, offering words of comfort, regardless of their species. When she noticed Kate, she beckoned her closer. Kate was startled by the gesture. The Queen was performing some kind of ritual, a Xyrillian blessing perhaps. She watched as Leary touched the forehead of each wounded soldier, murmuring words that went untranslated. Later, when they were alone, Kate asked about the ritual. The gesture touched Kate deeply. The Queen had honored the human wounded as she would her own people. The ship continued its journey toward Earth. The Xyrillian escort vessels flanking it protectively. News of their approach had been sent ahead. Diplomatic preparations were underway. Kate found herself increasingly in the Queen's company. Not just as liaison, but as something approaching a friend. They spoke of many things. Their different worlds, their hopes for peace, their experiences of war. One evening, as they shared a meal, adapted to both their biological needs, Leary asked an unexpected question. Kate considered the question carefully. The Queen nodded, slowly, her purple eyes thoughtful. Kate was curious now. The revelation surprised Kate. The Queen of a vast empire felt isolated by her position. It was something Kate had never considered, the loneliness of leadership. Their conversation was interrupted by an urgent summons to the bridge. The news was troubling. Earth Defense Command had detected multiple Drovar ships approaching the Sol system. The largest fleet seen yet. The Drovar clearly knew of the Queen's destination and were determined to prevent her arrival. The captain immediately contacted the Xerillian escort ships. A plan was formed. They would not alter course but instead prepare for battle. Kate watched as humans and Xerillians worked together, preparing defensive strategies. The shared technology from previous encounters gave them advantages, but the Drovar numbers were concerning. Leary spent hours in communication with her ships. The tactical display showed additional Xerillian vessels moving to intercept beyond the immediate escort. A larger fleet was gathering. The Queen explained to the captain. The human captain was clearly moved by the gesture as the ship continued toward Earth. Tension mounted. Kate found herself checking and rechecking weapon systems, running combat drills with the security teams. Leary joined these sessions, offering insights on Drovar weaknesses, demonstrating Xerillian fighting techniques. The crew watched in amazement as the Queen perfected every movement precise, despite the differences in physiology. During one such session, a young human officer asked a question that many had wondered but none had voiced. The room fell silent, all eyes on the Queen. Her answer would reveal much about Xerillian intentions. Leary looked around the room, meeting each gaze, directly before answering. The silence that followed was profound. Each person present understood they were witnessing a historic moment, the beginning of a true alliance. The ship alerts sounded. The Drovar fleet had been detected at the edge of the Sol system. The battle would begin soon. Kate found herself assigned to a fighter squadron. Her combat experience made her valuable in the coming conflict. As she prepared her ship, she was surprised to find Leary in the hangar. Kate was stunned. The Queen smiled, that increasingly natural expression. Kate understood then. The Queen was a warrior as well as a diplomat. She would not hide while others fought. The captain attempted to dissuade her, but Leary was firm. She would fly with the human fighters. Her knowledge of Drovar ships would prove valuable in combat. The hangar buzzed with activity as fighters prepared for launch. Kate watched as Leary was fitted with a modified flight suit, her blue skin contrasting with the dark material, her long, silver hair braided tightly for combat as they prepared to board their ships. Leary approached Kate. Kate felt the weight of the moment. The Queen of the Xerillian Empire would fly at her wing. Their two species fighting together, perhaps for the first time in galactic history. The fighters launched in perfect formation. Kate in the lead with Leary beside her. The space around Earth filled with ships, human defense vessels rising from the planet's surface, Xerillian cruisers moving into position. The Drovar fleet approached, a dark mass against the stars. Kate's voice crackled through the comm system. The Queen responded, her tone calm, confident. The battle began in a flurry of weapons fire. The Drovar attacked with ferocity, their numbers overwhelming. But the combined human and Xerillian forces fought with coordination that surprised their enemy. Kate watched in amazement as Leary flew. Her control perfect. Her tactics unlike anything Kate had seen before. The Queen seemed to anticipate Drovar movements, reacting before they occurred. Together, they carved through enemy formations. Kate following Leary lead. Their fighters dancing among the larger ships. They targeted key systems, weapons nodes, engine controls. The battle raged for hours. Kate lost track of time. Focused only on the next target, the next maneuver. The space around Earth became a graveyard of broken ships. Then a new threat emerged, a massive Drovar vessel, unlike the others. It moved toward Earth, its weapons powering up. Kate recognized the danger. This was no ordinary warship. This was a planet killer. Leary's voice came through the comm. Kate understood immediately. It was a desperate plan, but it might work. They broke formation, flying directly toward the massive ship. Drovar fighters moved to intercept, but the Queen and Kate weaved through them. Their smaller ships hard to target, their movements unpredictable. They reached the planet killer, approaching a vulnerable point in its armor. Kate fired, opening a narrow gap. Leary followed, releasing a Xerillian weapon. A small device that attached to the ship's hull. They pulled away, accelerating to maximum speed as they retreated. The device activated. a pulse of energy that spread across the planet killer, its systems failing, its weapons powering down. The human and Xyrillian fleets concentrated fire on the disabled vessel. It broke apart, fragments scattering across space. The remaining Drovar ships retreated. The battle was won. Kate and Leary returned to the human vessel. Heroes of the hour. The crew cheered as they landed. Their combined effort had saved Earth in the aftermath as damage was assessed. Casualties counted. Kate found Leary on the observation deck. The Queen was watching Earth, its blue ocean's white clouds visible below. Kate joined, her simply standing in companionable silence. The Queen spoke finally. Kate smiled, understanding. They stood together watching as Earth turned slowly below them. Two warriors from different worlds united by battle, by purpose, by mutual respect. The diplomatic reception when they finally landed was elaborate. Leaders from all human nations gathered to welcome the Xyrillian Queen. Kate watched from a distance as Leary addressed the assembly, her words translated for all to hear. The crowd erupted in cheers. The formal alliance was announced. Days passed, filled with meetings, negotiations, planning. Kate found herself somewhat lost, her role as liaison less defined now that formal diplomatic channels had been established. Then one evening she received a summons to the Xyrillian embassy, a building hastily adapted for the Queen. Leary waited, dressed now in proper Xyrillian royal attire. Her blue skin adorned with ceremonial markings, her silver hair flowing freely. Kate was surprised by the request. The Queen simply smiled, that gesture she had perfected through careful observation of humans. Kate accepted, realizing that her rescue of a stranded queen had somehow placed her at the center of galactic history. As Kate prepared for her new role, she reflected on the strange path that had led her here, a routine salvage mission that had changed everything. She remembered that moment when she first found Leary in the damaged stasis pod. How fragile the Queen had seemed, how vulnerable. And now that same Queen stood before human leaders, forging an alliance that would reshape the galaxy. The Drovar had not given up. Their attacks continued. But now they faced a united front, humans and Xyrillians fighting together, sharing technology, strategies, resources. The tide of war was turning. Kate training began immediately. She learned Xyrillian customs, their language, their fighting techniques. Leary proved an exacting teacher, demanding perfection, but showing patience when Kate struggled. In turn, Kate taught the Queen more about humans, their diversity, their adaptability, their sometimes contradictory nature. Leary absorbed it all, her understanding of her new allies growing daily. As months passed, the alliance strengthened. More Xyrillians came to Earth, more humans visited Xyrillian worlds. Cultural exchanges began alongside military cooperation. Kate found herself at the forefront of this new era. The human who had saved a queen, the soldier who became a diplomat. 1 year after the rescue, they prepared for a joint military exercise, Kate and Leary stood together, watching human and Xyrillian ships training side by side. The Queen spoke softly. Kate thought about that day, the silence of the wrecked ship, the blue glow that had led her to the damaged pod, the moment when purple eyes had opened, seeing a human for the first time. She smiled at the memory. Leary looked at her, curious. Kate laughed, the question surprising her. The Queen seemed pleased by this answer. Later, as they walked through a garden designed to accommodate both Earth and Xyrillian plants, Leary shared something unexpected. Kate was touched by the revelation. To be remembered in Xyrillian history. A human honored among an alien people, the alliance continued to grow stronger. With each passing year, the Drovar, finding themselves increasingly outmatched, began to retreat, abandoning conquered territories. Other species, seeing the success of the human-Xyrillian cooperation, began to reach out, forming a growing coalition. Kate remained at Leary's side through diplomatic missions, through battles, through celebrations and ceremonies. Their friendship deepened, transcending their different origins, their shared experiences, creating a bond that neither had expected. When historians later wrote of the great alliance that changed the course of galactic history, they always began with the same story. The human soldier who found an alien queen among the wreckage of a destroyed ship. Sometimes they embellished the tale, adding dramatic elements that never occurred. Kate would laugh at these versions while Leary listened with regal amusement. But the core remained true. Two individuals from vastly different worlds brought together by chance, creating through their actions a peace that transformed civilizations. Sometimes the greatest stories begin with simple acts of compassion: the human woman who saved an alien queen, the soldier who changed the fate of galaxies. The universe would never be the same.